All right. All right. What's up, folks? Today is December 11th, 2025. My name is Eric. I'm your host of Success Over Stress. Try to keep this one a little bit short, a little bit sweet, but yeah, we're back doing the live, which I haven't done in quite some time, but I am your guide to easy language programming and algorithmic trading. So I feel like this is the late night session. Anyway, I'm gonna keep this kind of short. In past videos, if you watch any of my videos, you know that I tend to be long-winded. I'm not as long-winded now as I used to be. So we'll see. We'll see if I can do this fairly short or not. Let's get these out of here. So I'm going to do something different altogether. Don't want to start a backup right now. Let us start the idea of today is to go over the price series provider. There have been a number of people looking for some help or some just kind of ideas on the price series provider. So we're just going to go over that real quick, and then I'll get out of here. So this is going to be PSP. And so what this is, the price series provider, it's one of the data providers that provides information about the price. It provides a price series of information. So we're going to open up the properties and then keep that window pane open. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the toolbox, and I'm going to go and I'm going to pull out the price series provider just like that. Double click it, come over here, click on the name, double click on this name, rename it to PSP. You'd want to set your symbol, that's for sure. And then you want to load it. Unless you're doing something unique where you don't want to load it initially, you might want to load it programmatically. But I'm going to load this just as soon as the chart opens. And then what we'll do is we need to set our range. So when you set your price series provider, essentially when you're looking at a chart, the chart may have a range of this many days. Let's double click on the ticker. We'll see there we go, symbols. All right, so we have 60-minute bars. It goes back 30 days. Okay, so you have 60-minute bars. That's your interval. And then the range that you span is 30 days. So if you want to get this same kind of a chart, if you want to get the information from this chart, you can get it using the price series provider. You want to set 60-minute bars for a range of 30 days. Okay, so now let's do that. Let's go over here. We're going to set the interval, which the interval was 60-minute bars. So for the span, 60 minute, interval type, bars, right? Easy. Range was what? 30 days. So for type, go to days, and then under here for at days, now you put in the 30. Okay, now if you modify this, then it will try to kind of self-correct, right? So if I go to weeks here and now I type in 34 weeks, you see it automatically changes the type to weeks. Okay, so if you don't have this, say if there's a conflict of parameters, so if you set 30 weeks but then you change this and you have it as days, those are not congruent, right? So you set the type as days and you set the parameter for the actual numeric, you set it as weeks, and that doesn't make sense. So there are a lot of things that TradeStation will do where it won't make sense and it'll let you do it. This is not one of those, and thank you, right? So it will kind of like self-check. So days, and then we'll do 30 days. Okay, hit OK, and then that's the main pieces that you need to set up, right? If you want information about volume or ticks, you can change this to true. You can just double click in there, you can change that to true. But otherwise, we want it to be real time. Well, it doesn't need to be real time. We can turn this off. Real time is just saying that it will continue to update live, right? So true indicates the data provider may raise real-time update events. Okay, so that'll update live. But otherwise, when you load this data provider, it will just load everything that's available. And let's take a look and see what exactly it loads. So let's go over here and we'll say if last bar on chart X last bar on chart, then once we're going to print psp.count. Now before you print this count, you need to do what? You need to make sure that the PSP is loaded, right? So we'll say if, and to make sure it's loaded, I'm going to use a namespace using tsdata.common, and then I'll say if psp.state equals data state.loaded, then print. Say, okay, so verify that we don't have any errors. I don't think so. Okay, now we come over here, we're going to add that, so we'll do .iat psp. Okay, so 677. Okay, so 677 60-minute bars over the course of 30 days. Okay, so just out of curiosity, let's compare that to the number of bars on this chart. All right. And a few things to note also is if you are using a certain session, then it may not line up with what's going on here, because this session, if this session is different from this session, then you will get a different number of occurrences. Okay, so this session over here is 24-hour. Honestly, I don't know what this session is. So I don't know if we can print that. Let's try to see if we can print print psp dot session name. Name dot to string. Okay, so looks like it didn't give us the session name because it would have showed up right there. Okay, so but what we also need to do is add that to that block of checking if the data state is loaded. Try to keep it organized. Okay, but still we don't get anything for the session name .toString. I imagine we would if we put something there. So I imagine it would default to the session name will be the default session, which I don't know what that would be. I don't know if it'd be the regular session or the 24-hour session. Let's see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print the date time of the price series provider. So for 677 60-minute bars, we're just going to print the date time of them all. Okay, so again, if we do have data state loaded and we're the last bar on the chart, then X print times. That is a method. So method void X print times variable to sort through begin end. So for IDX of A equals 0 to psp.count minus 1. Begin, what do we want to do? We want to print the psp.time of that index. PSP. Oh, dot to string. Okay, so now we get a nice little printout here of all these date times of this price series provider. Okay, so if you look at the date times, it does go into the morning time. So at least we know that the session is one of those sessions where it does span the pre-market and the post-market. Okay, it goes from 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. It goes every single hour. So let's, out of curiosity, I wonder how many bars is on this chart. Okay, so again, also if we're the last bar on the chart, now we're not going to print the times, and we're just going to print how many bars on the chart. Print bar number. I imagine it's going to be close to that, close to that 677 or so, maybe plus the max bars back. Let's see, 665, and let's print the max bars back. Yeah, 665, and so we have 9 bars for the max bars back, and 665 bars. So we technically do have here that this would be coming in at 674, right? So this chart here is showing about 674 bars. And like I said, with a similar setup on the price series divider, 60-minute bars over 30 days, we're getting 677. So it's pretty close, pretty close. And that's one of the things I did see one of the engineers with TradeStation suggest, is that there may not be a perfect alignment based on some factors of how many bars you have. So what you probably want to do is programmatically come in here and just make sure that you are on the right date or have the right time, or whatever you're doing with the price series divider, you might programmatically want to make a check of it in here. Okay. So other than that, that's pretty much all we need to go over today. If you do change the session name, like if we change it to one of my custom sessions, which we have one, this is a custom session that a name that I made up, regular stock session. So that would just go from 9:30 to 4 p.m. And we did see already when I printed this with the print times, we go pre-market, post-market. So let's change this session to regular stock. Was it market? Okay, hit verify and regular stock session. All right, but you see when I verified that, let's clear this. We're going to do a clear print log, so we clear every time we rerun this program. Okay, but you see here when I have this regular stock market in here, we still look at price series divider data points 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And you say, well, Eric, why does it do that? Because your regular stock session actually only is from 9:30 to 4. Okay, so it shouldn't be printing any data points from in the pre-market and post-market hours. But I also didn't put the right name in here. But you saw that it also didn't kick back the session. It didn't say, oh, error, you have the wrong section. You have the wrong session. So keep that in mind. Okay, so now I'm going to type regular stock session. Okay. All right, where's the error at? Oh, that must have been the last update. So we actually did get it. We didn't get it on the print log here on the chart, but we did get it here. No custom session exists with the name provided. Okay, and I don't think that was for this one. That was for the one where I had regular stock market. So let's go back and turn this back on. All right, so now when we turn that back on, now we do have the proper regular stock session, that session name in effect. Okay, so now we're only getting the times between 9:30 and 4 p.m. Okay, so we go from let's see here. Why is that going to, unless it's a difference of time zones? Four, 5, 4:30, 3:30, 2:30, 1:30, 12:30, 11:30, and then we skip down. Because we should be going back down as far as 9 o'clock. I'm gonna check something here. Okay, so you see, because we did ask it to print the session name, it did print regular stock session. So but I do recall there being some issue or some consideration for the time zones. Session times are based on the exchange, right? So the session times, I have to go back and look at that, because if the session times are based on the exchange, I think the exchange for CME is Central and I'm Eastern, so that'll be an hour off, right? And so, but that would explain why it takes it to 5 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock, but it doesn't explain why we're missing the earlier morning hours, right? So like I said, that explains why it goes to 5 o'clock instead of just stopping at 4, but that's 1:30, 12:30, 11:30. Where is my, oh, okay. Because my time, I would think it would start at 9:30. And so because a completed 9:30 to 10 o'clock bar would be 9:30, 10:30. Is it 2 hours off? No. I could see 10:30. And these are hour bars. Okay. All right. So my session, my time zone, I'm seeing 9:30, but the Central time is an hour off. So, and then even at 9:30 my time, that bar would be created, bar would be completed at 10:30, so it would show a 10:30 time. But because the exchange is an hour off, instead of showing 10:30, it's showing 11:30. I would expect to see 6 o'clock there, though. And not only that, oh, okay, I see. So it would go to 6 o'clock. No? Because we went here to 3:30 to 4:30. It would be 5:30, but we cut it short. And so instead of showing, but again, I would still expect to see, let's see, if 4 o'clock is the latest, then that would be 5 o'clock their time, and then that would be 6 o'clock for a completed bar. But we're doing 60-minute spans. And this is definitely something to try to wrap your head around. I mean, it really, the time zones, the session zones, that part is funky. Let's see, is there any other way that we can? I'm trying to think if there's any other way that we can offset that so that we can have a better appreciation for the difference between the time zones. But I think that's something I will look into. That's something I'll look into and see if I can't narrow down somewhat of a formula for these sessions versus so a formula for to compare your session versus the exchange session, because that's going to make a difference. That's going to make a difference for these. All right. Okay, so I think that's all I really want to go over with this. But like I said, one thing that you can do, as opposed to just printing the time, you can also print all this other information. So PSP dot, got the high, low, close. You can get the range of the bar. Ticks up, date, down, up, down, volume. I haven't tried open interest. I don't know if open interest is one that is applicable to all the symbols. I'm thinking not. Let's see. Oh. Yeah, open interest is shown as a bunch of zeros. Yeah, but I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna work on that session name, and maybe I'll have a quick little video to add to this one, or I will download this one and then add the new information to this video, and then we'll make it easy that way. Okay, folks. All right. Hope somebody got something out of this. I will probably take this down, and like I said, I will then edit it along with some other information, and then we'll have a little something better for you. Okay. All right. I've been your host. I'm Eric. I'm out. Peace.